Welcome back to the Cozy Halloween series, or the attached question, is there a hat big enough for my head? It's not this one, I can tell you that much. Hi guys, I'm Kat, and today I would like to talk about 40 Fabulous and Fey by Melinda Chase. 40-year-old Shannon moves back to her mom, her grandma, and their seemingly immortal cat after her tumultuous divorce. On the way there, strange things start to happen, but she chooses to ignore them for now. She starts helping out in her mom's magic store, something her mom and grandma firmly believe in, which amuses Shannon for most of the book. She soon learns that a serial killer is frightening the town, and after it becomes apparent that they are going after witches and her mom and grandma belong to the same coven as the previous victims, Shannon gets worried and sets out to help with the investigation to protect her mom and grandma. She meets the PI in charge of this, although I'm not quite sure why there would just be a PI and not a police officer, but this PI is investigating this case as well, and she convinces him to let her help. Not long after, her mom and grandma reveal that they are actually witches and that magic is not just a hippie or new age thing, but real, and that her previously sealed powers have now awoken. There are more supernatural forces at work, and now the killer is after Shannon. Overall, not bad, not great. I like the combination of supernatural and solving crimes, but the book had a few issues. So starting with characters, while Shannon is perky and quite likable, she doesn't quite live up to her potential, I think. She tells you that she worked her way up to the DA of Boston, and when she comes back home, she behaves like a teenager quite often. To a degree, I can understand it. If you go back home and you move in with your parents again, then you tend to fall into old roles, I guess. But then even when she talks to the PI, I feel like her dialogue would have fit a 17-year-old as well. So you could have replaced Shannon with a teenager and there would have been hardly any difference. Because when she tells me that she worked her way to the DA, then I expect scheming on the level of Annalise Keating from How to Get Away with Murder. Maybe not quite this intelligent or, this convoluted, whatever, but no, you could have replaced Shannon with the 17-year-old and there would have been hardly any difference. Instead of a divorce, could have just been a bad breakup with her first boyfriend or whatever, and you would have ended up with the same story, essentially. Hunter, the PI, who was not quite what he pretends to be either, but it's pretty obvious straight off, because when they first meet, Shannon is instantly like, I feel a connection. I'm like, oh god, it's one of those romance subplots, is it? And yes, she can read him just by looking into his eyes, and his voice does things to her and whatnot. It's just like, okay, that kind of stuff is just not for me. So Hunter seems fairly bland to me. I mean, he's obviously described as like, oh wow, he's so hot and whatnot. It's just like, yeah, well, not feeling it, sorry. And you can obviously see the betrayal coming a mile away. But yeah, oh well. Her mom and grandma don't get an awful lot of screen time, so they seem quite interesting side characters, but you don't meet them all that often, or I feel like I didn't spend enough time with them to really grow to like them. But it's even worse for Dee Dee, apparently a friend of the family who is like family to Shannon, or so she says, because I think Dee Dee shows up in 2 or 3 scenes and has maybe 3 lines of dialogue that could have just been taken over by her mom and grandma, and there would have been no difference to the scene. So a bit sad about Dee Dee. It does contain something rather concerning, because when her mom and grandma divulge some family history to Shannon, it becomes clear that her grandma was in a relationship with a fae, a supernatural being, except that relationship only seemed to have happened because she gave him a love potion, or bewitched him somehow. And I'm like, that doesn't sound too healthy and kind of like rape. But yeah, so if you can ignore that, yeah, it upset me. Let's put it that way. So the book is told from Shannon's perspective, except for the very last chapter, which you get to see from Hunter's perspective. And it threw me off a little because the voice was essentially the same as for Shannon. You could have put Shannon in the same thing, just exchanged names and he for she, and it would have made no difference. Few things in the writing gave me pause. Things like blue ball of death. I think it was supposed to be death because it's not like rolled up ball of blue corpses or whatever rolling your way. No, it's the blue ball of death. It's a ball of energy. And then my personal pet peeve. Turns out in Hunter's chapter there's a let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. Yes, okay. So if you're looking for a supernatural, easy and quick read that doesn't focus on the crime solving too much, and if the cheesiness at the sight of a man does not turn you off either, then this book might be for you, but I don't think I will pick up the next one in the series. So overall, I'm afraid it's this cat, and I won't be picking up the next one. Thank you guys for watching. See you again next week with another video, and maybe the hat will fit then. Bye guys!